Hello, my dreamers, my goal setters, and my achievers. And yes, you are all three. Because if you have a dream, then you definitely can set some goals in order to achieve that very dream. And so I say this to every last one of you guys. That's exactly who you are. You are a dreamer, you are a goal setter, and you are an achiever, and you can do all of those things. So, my name is Kelly Moore. If this is your first time here, hello, hello, hello. I'm so happy that you are here and you're spending your time with me at this very moment. I am a career counselor that loves what I do, and hopefully that comes across. I definitely love and enjoy exactly what I do when it comes to career counseling. So I do these videos and I create these different conversation pieces just to kind of get us thinking about what are we interested in when it comes to career development, growing ourselves, and becoming that person that you want to be. Because I feel that our jobs, what we do as a profession, what we do to make our money, is literally a quarter of, if not a third of who we are. So let's make the best of it. Let's enjoy what we do. So today's video, I definitely want to discuss something that I think everyone experiences. If you work, you will experience this. I promise you. Wondering what it is? Can anybody guess it? If you can guess it, put it down below. Because I think everybody experiences it. It depends on to what degree you experience this and how you make it happen and work for you. So, without further ado, work-life balance. Everybody experiences it. I promise you guys, everyone experiences work-life balance and having to figure out what that looks like. But I want to challenge you guys. So, with that challenge, instead of calling it work-life balance, let's switch it on over to work-life harmony. The reason why I want to change the way we think about it is because of the fact that balance implies everything is equal. We're all on an equal playing field, and that's not what it should be, right? Because in certain seasons of our lives, things have a different weight to it. Work might be more important right after you get out of school. You don't have a family, you don't have the kids, you don't have the husband, you don't have the dog and the cat and all these things to worry about. You don't have this big mortgage that you got to pay. You're developing yourself and you're setting yourself aside as a person and defining who you are as a professional. So everything is about, okay, my job. Other things will fall into place as they get there. But when you are at a different phase in your life, let's say for instance you start having your kiddos. I know for myself, when I had my first child, I'm like, how do I do this? How do I work and be a mom at the same time? Each kid that I added, which I have 3 now, each kid that I added, I had to learn new ways to make sure that I give my kiddos some of me, work enough of me that I feel that I am accomplished in that sense, my husband some of me, just passing out these pieces of me while also making sure that I'm taken care of too, right? Because if we can't do anything else, we have to make sure that we are nourished as well. Because if we don't have anything else to give, if our cup runneth over, we are able to give in abundance to everyone that needs us. But if our cup runs dry, we have nothing else to give. So we have to make sure that we are acknowledging that we are putting into ourselves too. And that's what work-life balance would look like traditionally, right? It's, okay, you get a sip, you get a sip, you get a sip. But let's not look at it that way. Let's look at it like, okay, you get a little bit more right now because I know you need it right now. You get a little bit less because, yeah, I didn't put in that work, so it's time for me to fall back in that area a little bit. So that is something that is important when it comes to that. Making sure that you identify that these things change. It's not always going to look the same for you, depending on what season you are in life. Also, making sure that you understand how to create that work-life harmony that you're looking for, right? So, whether it's learning how to say no. I have infamously been terrible at this. I will say, oh yes, I can help you with that. yeah, I'll stay late to make sure this is taken care of, knowing good and well I need to hurry up and get home because my husband has to go to work. I got kids at home, but I'm like, okay, if I jump in my car at this time, if I turn on my ways, it'll tell me what time I need to be in my car in order to get home in time to get my kids so my husband can get off to work and everything will be fine. You have to learn how to be able to say no, because if I just said no in that situation, oh no, I honestly can't do that because I have to get home. That lets me be the person that I need to be versus me being stressed out trying to get home, trying to make sure everything's together, knowing exactly how to set that boundary and say, no, I just can't. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And being okay with that. Because at the end of the day, you have to be okay with it, right? If that's what you need, it prevents you from getting burnt out. It prevents you from developing resentment. It prevents you from feeling as though I give all of me to this job and I don't get anything in return. I miss so much from my kids because I gave all to this job. But let's be honest. If you're working a 9 to 5 in a company, if you left today or tomorrow, they'll find somebody else to replace you and take on that role. So learning that it's okay to say, okay, enough is enough. I have to give something to myself and I have to set clear boundaries with what is okay and what my limitations are. Another thing to know is that you have to know what your non-negotiables are. Simple as that. Some things are just non-negotiable. I know for me, working on Sundays, that's something that has been non-negotiable for me for a very long time. I have adjusted that and tweaked it here and there, but it's not where I will ever work consistently every single Sunday because I feel like, yeah, there's certain things I want to do with my family. There's certain things that I feel like are important for my family that come on that Sunday, right? So, and whether it's me cooking breakfast and making sure that me and my kids can sit down and spend some quality time together, that's important for me. And so you have to identify what your non-negotiables are. What are you not willing to budge on? And communicate that with your employer. Or communicate that with yourself. If you are self-employed, you have to tell yourself, like, yeah, even though I'm getting this business started, ma'am, no ma'am, you can't do this. You cannot work every single day for 10 hours a day and think that it's going to be okay. So you have to be able to tell yourself what your limitations are and communicate that with yourself and or others. Another thing to make sure that you identify is like being able to prioritize. And what that means is that you know, okay, some things are going to have to get done, right? Whether it's at home, I might have to take some time off. I have to do these things. Prioritizing what you need and what is important and just make it happen. You have to be able to say, okay, for this week, I have to do this for work. It's a priority, but I will bounce back and get things back together because I think it's vital for you to know exactly what you are going to put as a priority at this moment and make sure that you hold true to that. And then you also have to make sure that you are communicating this with all parties involved too. Communicate that with your significant other. Communicate that with your child. In the world of COVID, we have seen how easily the lines and boundaries of work have blurred. I remember there were so many times I'm sitting here doing group or meeting with someone, my child walks across and having to say, I'm sorry, my child is not in school right now because of COVID, what's going on. I need to attend to them for a second. And knowing that that is a priority for a second, but most people can relate and understand. So being forgiving in that moment too. Forgiving yourself that sometimes things do happen and you have to adjust and pivot. So making sure that you do that when it comes to work-life harmony. I think that overall it's just so important to make sure that you know what you value. So identify what you value and that'll set the tone for everything.